Hey guys, I would like to use this opportunity to say a very big thank you to my first ever patron, Whipread. Thank you very much. If you like this video and would love to support this channel, you can do so on Patreon. Links to that will be in the description below. A like and subscription also goes a long way in supporting this channel. It will be very much appreciated. This video is the first part in a 4-part series. I hope you enjoy. I was about 10 years old when my fine art teacher showed me pictures of what I would later know to be an Ife bronze head. For a very long time I was in awe and wondered how these people from ancient Ife were able to pull off this level of details and liveness. It was like nothing I have ever seen before. I was in more disbelief when I discovered that these bronze heads, and sometimes life-size figurines, were not solid blocks of bronze, but castings made from a technique lost to time. Recently, my interest was piqued again while researching for another video. And this time I wanted to know who these people really were, and what type of civilization produced these works. This led me on a journey to discover a civilization that is one of the coolest I have ever come across. Today I will share with you my finds on how a village grew to become one of, if not the most influential empire in West Africa. This story begins 4,522 years ago in the Niger-Benue confluence, where the Benue-Kwa language-speaking people called home for thousands of years. This group of people included the Proto-Nupe, Proto-Akpa, Proto-Idoma, Proto-Tiv, Proto-Igbira, Proto-Bassa, Proto-Yoruba, Proto-Igala, and the Proto-Isekiri. This area allowed them to explore and discover new things, and hone in new skills, like the discovery, control, and exploitation of fire, which eventually led to the discovery of iron, which is a very interesting and important technological leap. The usual development of technology is the Stone Age to the Bronze Age and then the Iron Age. But for the people who live in the Niger-Benue confluence, there was an exception. The Iron Age came right after the Stone Age. In other words, they knew about the existence and production of iron towards the end of the first millennium, before bronze. During the pottery production process, clay pots are heated up to incredible temperature levels. This heating up leads to the formation of iron bloom, which at first was tossed away until its usefulness was recognized. The discovery of iron allowed for easier clearing of farmlands, revolutionizing agriculture. By the beginning of the 4th century BC, the northern trade winds pushed further south, bringing in cold air from the northern hemisphere for a longer period of the year. This prolonged dry season disrupted the rainfall pattern, and when rain did fall, it arrived with a powerful force. It was heavy and caused damaging erosion to the soil, which was already parched from the heat. Within a few decades, a significant ecological change was brought on by the accumulation of these prolonged spells of low annual precipitation, which led to a recession in the fertile floodplains of the river Niger. What had begun was a climatic event dubbed the Big Dry, and would continue for the next 600 years. The change in climate did have an effect on the Benue-Kwa speaking people. Hunting grounds were no longer as productive as wildlife population declined drastically. These problems were compounded by the drying up of streams and rivers that fed this area, which forced the migration of the Proto-Yoruba out of the Niger-Benue Valley in search of better locations that could support their population. So over the coming centuries, the Proto-Yoruba migrated out of the Niger-Benue Valley, spreading to the south and west of their ancestral homeland, settling down along the way, founding different settlements. This fragmented the Proto-Yorubas into distinct dialects and subcultures among themselves, and also differentiated them further from the Benue-Kwa speaking cousins. Some groups migrated into the thickest forest, south of the river Niger, and occupied a considerable stretch of coastal lagoon territory, while others migrated as far as modern-day Togo. Towards the end of the first millennium, some of them settled in the heartlands, west of the Niger-Benue Valley, on an elevated but poorly drained basin, surrounded by hills. This area was perfect for them, as the valley was swampy and seasonally flooded. The people who settled in this area called it Ile-Ife. Their settlements and farmlands were concentrated in the woodland slopes of the hills, where the soil was well drained and fertile. The people of Ile-Ife were not the first group of humans to occupy these lands. The Ugbo are considered the first aboriginals of these lands. They fished, hunted, and foraged in the swamps and streams in the valley. The people of Ife and the Ugbo people traded with each other, as the ecological conditions must have encouraged them to do so. Nevertheless, when Ife's population surpassed that of the Ugbo, competition for the valley's lands and resources was only a matter of time. The people of Ife lived in large family house complexes, called Agbole, which was the simplest unit of socio-political organization at the time, usually consisting of multiple extended families, who worked on the same farm settlements. The Agbole consisted of dwelling units built within a courtyard. When the population of the Agbole outgrew it, families broke off to start a new Agbole, but remained tied and subservient to the original Agbole. Over time, the quality and structural integrity of the Agbole were improved. Anthropomorphic and animal idioms were carved into the eaves, while murals called Iwokwe were painted on the verandas as ways to beautify the Agbole. The beautification of an Ebi's Agbole became a form of competition and differentiation of one family from the other. Other forms of differentiation included the use of facial scarification and oriki, which are short poems of a family's ancestral lineage. The members of an Agbole also shared the same ritual practices, deities, ancestors, and taboo. The Agbole gave its members access to land as it could ensure the security and safety of the farmlands from either competing families or hostile immigrants into the area. The oldest male was usually the leader of the Agbole, except in cases where there was a male who had great exploits, like a victorious warrior, successful farmer, or hunter. They were called Olori Agbole and were either elected, selected, or gained power through a violent usurpation. They were responsible for the welfare of the members of the Agbole by assembling, redistributing, and managing the resources of the Agbole in form of labor and land. They were conduits for social welfare and opportunities for the members of the Agbole. This role allowed the Olori Agbole to have surpluses, which he used to cover the cost of his political position and the welfare of less privileged members of the Agbole, as not all members were considered equal along age, gender, hereditary, accomplishment, or Ebi affiliation. There were also religious leaders and custodians of the shrines, as they were thought to be able to calm the primordial spirits, since they could mediate with their ancestors. Their claim to power was usually the possession of totems, which usually belonged to the founder of the Agbole. These totems were passed down through each succeeding Olori Agbole. Replicas were made which members of the Agbole kept as symbols of their house. They were nothing short of rulers, chief priests, judges, and enforcers of law and order. New members were recruited into the Agbole, primarily through marriage. Marriage was exogamous and encouraged a peaceful relationship between houses. This was an important social innovation, as it laid the groundwork for the next step of social-political organization. The Olori Agbole, however, could increase his ranks through fictitious kingships, which ensured he could win votes if or when his position of authority was challenged. As the population of Ife grew, competition for farmlands intensified. Alliances began to form between houses. 2 or 4 houses merged together to become mega houses. However, already powerful houses became mega houses through the forceful coercion of weaker houses. These dramatic events transitioned Ile-Ife into an house society, where the mega house was the largest socio-political unit. In Ile-Ife, there were about 13 mega houses, or settlements. They were separated by woodlands ranging from a few hundred meters to about a kilometer. These mega houses were headed by an alpha house, which the leaders from the minor houses reported to. The Ideta mega house, for example, was made up of an alpha house and 3 minor houses. These mega houses could be likened to mini-states, with political heads equitable to a king. Hello, welcome to the end of the video. If you enjoyed what you just saw, please leave a like and share this video around. Remember to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss the next videos of the series. If you have a question or critique, you can leave it in the comment section below. You can also reach me on Twitter or Discord. Links to that will be in the description below. Till the next video. Bye.